In the United States, along a long and forgotten highway in Nevada, there stood an old roadside motel called Red Hollow Inn. Most travelers passed it without stopping, and locals avoided it after dark. People said the neon sign flickered even when there was no electricity, and phones lost signal the moment someone entered the parking lot. But the most disturbing thing was something no one liked to talk about: Room 616. Daniel Carter was a true crime podcaster from Chicago who chased stories others feared. Missing people, abandoned places, and unsolved mysteries were his obsession. One night, at exactly 2:17 a.m., his car broke down in the middle of nowhere. With no signal and no help in sight, Red Hollow Inn was the only shelter within 40 miles. Inside the lobby, the air smelled of dust and age. Behind the counter sat an elderly man with pale, tired eyes. When Daniel asked for a room, the man hesitated and quietly said that all rooms were available except one, Room 616. Curious and excited, Daniel insisted on taking it. The old man's face went completely blank. The hallway lights buzzed as Daniel walked toward the room. The numbers climbed slowly, 612, 613, 614, until he reached the final door. Room 616 was already unlocked. Inside, everything looked strangely normal. A neatly made bed, an unplugged television, a phone on the nightstand, and a digital clock flashing 12 o'clock. No matter how long Daniel watched it, the time never changed. As soon as he stepped inside, the air felt heavy, like the room itself was aware of his presence. Daniel placed his recorder on the table and began speaking softly, documenting his stay. The silence around him felt unnatural. Then, at exactly 3:33 a.m., the phone rang. The sound shattered the quiet. With shaking hands, Daniel answered. At first, there was only static, then a woman's voice, weak, trembling, and terrified. She begged him not to open the door. Before Daniel could ask anything, a knock echoed through the room. His heart raced as the woman whispered that she had stayed in that room years ago and that something stood outside, pretending to be human. Daniel tried to convince himself there was no one there, but the woman began crying hysterically. She told him that the room always lies and warned him never to trust the mirror. Slowly, Daniel turned toward the bathroom. His reflection stared back at him, perfectly still. Then it blinked on its own. In terror, Daniel screamed and dropped the phone. The knocking stopped instantly, and the room fell into complete silence. At sunrise, Daniel fled to the lobby and demanded answers from the old man. The man sighed heavily and revealed that every 10 years someone disappeared from room 616. When Daniel mentioned the phone calls, the man looked confused and said there was no phone line in that room. It had been disconnected decades ago. Shaking, Daniel played back his recorder, but the voice that played was not his. It was the same woman whispering that it was coming back. Daniel left the motel and uploaded the episode to his podcast. It became one of his most played recordings, but soon listeners began leaving disturbing comments. People claimed they received strange phone calls after listening. Others said their mirrors smiled at them. Daniel stopped responding. Days later, police found his apartment empty. His recorder was still running, the mirror was shattered, and on the wall, written in blood, were the words, "Room 616 is calling." That night, your phone vibrates. An unknown number appears on the screen. When you answer, a frightened voice whispers, "Please, don't open the door." And slowly, behind you, the mirror begins to smile.